Now, KLTA was here about 5 months ago
Yeah,
when you were starting the process. How far along are you now?
I have 2 windows left in the main church and 5 smaller windows in the chapel and the hallway.
Yeah. How many did you do overall then?
There's 18 windows total, and that's counting the big windows in the church as one window. Actually, there are 2. So there would be basically 16 windows in the main church itself if you counted the smaller ones as separate.
Okay. And the reason why, I understand you said the lead paint that was on the faux
Yes.
stained glass windows
Yes.
was old and faded to the point of almost non-existent in some areas.
In a lot of places it had fallen completely off. There was big sheets of the lead paint that had fallen off onto the floor and onto the windowsills. So it was basically gone.
And why did you decide to paint this instead of just, say, buying regular stained glass?
Regular stained glass, when I looked it up on the internet, to replace each one of these windows was going to cost between $15,000 and $20,000 a piece. And this is a small country church, there's no way. So the next thing to do was to try to figure out how to replace the old lead paint. I went to Ben Franklin in Rapid City. I know the folks that run it. I've known them for years, and they told me about this acrylic paint that I could put on that was absolutely safe. And so I told Father, I said, I can do the work, but I can't afford to buy the paint. And someone in the church stepped up and bought the paint. And so we ordered paint on March 15th a year ago. And I had originally figured it was going to take me 2 years to get it done. But my goal is to have it done by the middle of July when I turn 70. So I don't want to get up on the ladder anymore.
Now, when you're talking about, 70, getting old, I drove up and I was looking for an old white clapboard church.
Yeah, yeah.
This is newer than I thought, so why did they use lead 25 years ago?
It was what was available, and the way the gal did it is the windows were laying down flat on a table, and she put the leading on, and then she proceeded to put on a respirator because the paint was 80% lead, liquid lead, and then she dripped the color on with an eyedropper, and they had all the windows open and fans running, and the gals that were in here with her said that their eyes were burning. And lead is a known carcinogen. It's very dangerous, and so when we decided to redo them, this acrylic was the way to go because you can do it at a 90-degree angle where you have to, otherwise you have to have them laying down flat, and I didn't want to take the windows out.
I figured that would have been easier on you, maybe not the people taking them out.
It hasn't been all that bad. Joe Lutnager and Janet Vandermeer have helped me scrape. That's the biggest job, and then you have to clean them with pure vinegar, and I have to pick out the corners around the leading, because a lot of times you couldn't even tell what color it was. It had faded so badly. And so we got that figured out. We used freezer paper and chalk and tape the freezer paper with a window and then do a rub to get the cartoon, and then it's taped alongside of the window, and then we write the colors in as we discover what they are.
So you're doing paint by numbers?
Actually, yeah, that's basically what it is paint by number.
When you started to take this project, is it actually turning out the way you envisioned? I know that doesn't always happen.
I had no idea what it was going to look like. I just knew it had to be better than what it was before. And this is so beautiful now. It's just incredible. The window of Kateri back here, I think, is probably one of my favorites. She's the first canonized Native American saint. She was canonized in October, and her window was done before she was canonized, just by a few days, but we made it under the wire.
Did you do her first?
No, actually, I started in the northwest corner up here, I did, and I worked my way down. And then I did Kateri, and then have done the rest of them. And then I discovered this paint is very temperamental. When it's too cold, it runs like water, so that doesn't work. And if it's too hot, it fries like an egg in a dry skillet, and that doesn't work. So I wasn't able to work it all last summer when it was 108 degrees.
It's just basic artist acrylic paint, right?
It's a liquid paint. Yeah, it's an acrylic, and the way you get the texture is you make little bitty circles. I call it picky work. Actually, I guess you could almost call it idiot work. Anybody can do it that wants to stand and make little bitty circles, but it's very time consuming.
When you say time consuming, how many hours per window?
There's about 60 to 80 hours per window to do one of these big windows in here. I do know that. I did time it.
Yeah. So you do overtime on this too?
No, I don't get paid. It's all volunteer.
So when you get done with the window, and then you have a service that Sunday, how does it feel?
It's kind of amazing, the kids that come in. When I did the first window up there, there's a little girl, 10 years old. Her name's Amelia, and in fact, she's learning how to do this now. And she came in with her daddy. I didn't see it, but some of the other parishioners did, and she just stopped and looked because she could see the colors on the edge of the window. And she talked her daddy into going up front to sit with a pretty lady. And, when a 10-year-old notices it, makes it really special.
It does seem to be special than your peers for some reason. I mean, a bunch of cranky old people like us, yeah, we like that. But when a young kid...
When a kid does it, yeah. In fact, I have Amelia Vandermeer is my 10-year-old, and then I have Elizabeth and Rosemary Hoon that are 16 and 14, and I have an 18-year-old Marty Herber, and all of those girls are learning how to do this, because like I said, I'm not getting up on that ladder again, and if something goes wrong, one of the pieces starts to peel, somebody has to be able to fix it.
25 years, that lead paint didn't last too long.
No, it did
25
not.
years, I thought it should have. How long do you think this will last?
I have a cousin that had a window made with this acrylic paint. She said it was about 25 years ago when she did it. It was brand new then, this kind of paint. And she said they took it out a year or so ago, and other than a little fading on some of the darker colors, she said it was just fine. So I'm expecting this to last at least 25 years.
And then you'll be here to supervise the next group.
I don't know. I'll be 95. I don't know if...
You don't know if you're going to want to.
I don't know if I'm going to want to. That's right.